Okay, hi everyone, and the ones that are around, if they want to get closer, we're gonna talk about how you can grow your local meetups, organizing events, how to bring people together in the community. We have four experts here from four different parts of the world. So please feel free to come, have questions, let us know. We're gonna have a space at the end. And I want to start quickly with an introduction from all of these four handsome guys. We have Emilio from Mi Primer Bitcoin. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do? And we're going to start with the questions soon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emilio. I am from El Salvador, and I am in charge to bring the people together for Mi Primer Bitcoin in the country. And yeah, happy to be here.
Hey everybody, my name is Pablo. I work for Bull Bitcoin as a Bitcoin evangelist. It's my responsibility to organize lots of different community events, including meetups in Montreal, in Canada, Quebec, Trois-Rivières, and across all of Canada. We sponsor and bootstrap anybody who wants to start a meetup. We're also here in Europe and moving slowly across the continent here as well. So it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Hi, I am Cotsoor. I am from Bratislava, Slovakia, and I'm organizing their meetups every month. And that's me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Thinus from Bitcoin Kazi based in Mossel Bay, and I'm the special projects coordinator there.
Great. So let's start quickly with the first doubt that I have, and I think maybe many, is that what's something that you guys start doing it when you start organizing events that you thought it was going to work, but it didn't work?
Okay, I must just maybe mention I used to organize events. Nowadays, I just participate, and I might get back to that a little later. But what really didn't work for me was I'm a very structured person, so always just trying to keep things very, formal with RSVP lists and pushing a specific agenda, and that just didn't work. And once I toned down and just made it more a relaxed, casual environment, have a topic, but don't push a specific agenda, and that just started working.
Okay, for me, what doesn't work? It doesn't work to wait that somebody will give thumbs if you put in the signal group the term when is meetup, and nobody gives the thumb for us. Then I don't know how many people will come, and so that's quite stressful.
I'd say for myself, the thing is, my meetups, I say it's our meetup. It belongs to all of us. If you want to organize something, do it. If you want to take the lead, do it. If you want to help, do it. And usually people just like to show up. It's really hard to give people ownership of the meetup that we organize. It's everybody's meetup. That's what I always say at every single meetup. But keeping a core of volunteers showing up, putting in time outside of the meetup to keep it running is always, and still is for me, very difficult.
Okay, so based on the experience, something that I realized that most of the time we think just to post a flyer, to post something in the social media, we're going to attract people into the meetup. However, when we realize just a few people show up. So I think that the best way to get the people together is to get help from the community, asking other people to invite their friend, their family, create a connection with the merchants in the community. So that is going to be helping us to attract more people into educational meetups.
Emilio, let's say here, you have helped to create different events and different formats. It's been intro classes, it's been meetups, and it's been also been the conference from My First Bitcoin. What are some of the key elements that you think that every member here or every team should include to be memorable, so people want to come back?
Yeah, I think that the best key is the human connection. So it doesn't matter if you have a technical meetup, if you have an educational meetup, but if you don't provide a interaction with the people, with the new people that are gonna join the meetup. So they won't remember the content that we provide. They will remember the experience they have in the event. So I think that it's very important that to provide a welcome to everyone and every time we have an event. And I'm pretty sure that they will come back again.
We are proof of that, Emilio. Emilio and I working in my first Bitcoin, and we both just show up to a meetup. We felt welcomed by the team, and now here we are in Prague, all the way from El Salvador.
Yeah.
Okay, Pablo.
For me, as soon as I got my meetup running regularly, same time, same place next month, that was the easiest way to get them to come back. So Montreal is on the first Thursday of every month. Quebec is on the third Thursday of every month. I like Thursdays. And now we've got Trois-Rivières, which is on the second Thursday of every month. So when I'm hungover on a Friday, I don't get a lot done, but everybody knows where to find us and what venue we're at. And that's what keeps people coming back to my meetups.
Pablo, we're going to say that you use the word evangelization. What does that look practically when you talk about more?
Practically? Practically, it takes many different forms. It's more of like a theoretical approach that I have. I call myself a Bitcoin evangelist because an angel is somebody who delivers good news. So if you strip away the religious context, evangelization for me is delivering good news. So I'm super passionate about Bitcoin, and I'm so passionate to the point where evangelization is trying to transmit that flame, that spark, helping people just get enthusiastic about Bitcoin and having fun is usually the best way to do it, either through fun or curiosity. That's practically how I got about it. But the idea for me is that there's great news. Like, we fixed the money. It was done and it's here, and we're in Prague to celebrate that. And I just want as many people to be able to come. I want to offer them a seat to sit in and a place we can talk about this beautiful thing called Bitcoin. So that's how I go about it.
How do you speak with the both, in a meetup, skeptics and believer in the same room?
I love it. I believe enough in Bitcoin to work out that humans will find consensus behind Bitcoin eventually, even if it's not in that particular meetup. I kind of like the disagreements. People seem to bond more when they've disagreed and found common ground rather than just always agreeing with each other all the time. So there is an aspect in the meetups of an echo chamber. So when I see new people show up, I welcome them at the door. I try and introduce them to as many people as possible. And I let the magic of Bitcoin work itself out. And I provide resources and help guide people. But at the end of the day, skeptics are the best people to evangelize. So that's my target.
Amazing. Yes, Peter.
Okay. I didn't heard.
No, I have another question for you. What is your approach when you're dealing with burnout? When you're dealing with burnout, like you're trying all of these new practices, what do you do to keep yourself motivated, and what advice can you give to others that helps?
Well, I don't know exactly because that's every time different. I think that sometimes helps when people comes to the meetup and we can talk about everything, and it mustn't be really Bitcoin. It can be everything else. And with the people, they have the same mindset, Bitcoin mindset. That's great. Than the discussion.
Thinus, your work is basically, rooted in one of the most inspiring grassroots movements and efforts that we know in the space with Bitcoin Ekasi. What have you learned that is, trust building within the community before even talking about Bitcoin?
Okay, so I joined Bitcoin Ekasi once it was already established. But from my perspective, one of the first things I noticed was that it was an extension of an already existing program called the Surfer Kits, which already started from 2010. And that really laid the foundation of trust in the community, because it's the same people from the Surfer Kits, staff and participants that actually lives in the community where the Bitcoin Ekasi project was launched. So that is the first thing. And then the second thing is to have a community lead or a community coordinator from the community. So already somebody that is respected and that established trust.
And what happens when, those moments of low momentum happens, like turnouts, how do you personally stay motivated and that you can motivate your team? And how do you re-energize in the community when you feel like, there is things that are not going wrong, like not going as you expected? How do you feel like you can motivate and how do you re-energize your community? It's very hard. Huh? Yeah. So how do you basically re-energize your community when low momentum happens? Like in everything, like, you have times that things are not going as expected. How do you find yourself, your motivation to keep going?
Well, I think one of the things is, we are struggling to hear. Okay, sorry. Can you just ask that question again? Sorry.
Of course, yeah. What's something, that when the turnout is low, when the momentum, fades, how do you personally stay motivated? How do you re-energize your team to, go through these different spaces?
Okay, I think it's important to realize that although Bitcoin is for anyone, it's not for everyone at this stage, and that's okay. So to mitigate the risk, you will instead of setting up something formal, as I mentioned before, which is not working, renting a venue, renting sound, stuff like that. Just keep it low key. Organize the meetup at the pizza place, and a merchant which you are going to support within the Bitcoin ecosystem itself. And then even if the turnout is low, even if there's only the team or 2 or 3 people, you're still going to have a good time, have a good meal, and have a good conversation. And then the second thing, as I mentioned before, I'm not organizing the meetups anymore. We changed organizers now, and that just brings in a fresh vibe. The mission is still the same. It's all about Bitcoin awareness and adoption. But somebody else now organizing it brings in a different vibe. And then to go from different place to different place in the Bitcoin ecosystem to have your meetups, keeping it fresh.
Thank you. Peter, what do you think is the most effective things for people to keep coming back? When you finally create consistency, what do you think is why people keep coming back?
I think that the friendship of the people, the consistency of the society and community, that's why people come back, because they are feeling well in this community. That's great.
Basically, Pablo, in Canada, when there is you feel like sometimes maybe there is less urgency of people, how do you create that sense of relevance and a connection to Bitcoin?
Relevant, I think, especially in Canada, where we saw things during the COVID period really encourage the need and want for meetups. Not just only Bitcoin as a practical tool to be able to deliver free democratic manifestation, but also as a way of being able to be together, which was something that didn't happen during those times. So meetups were hugely, hugely popular after COVID. And now we're seeing things are slowly curving off because there's not that sense of urgency that you were mentioning. So I suppose less urgency, because urgency for me is focused around stress. Urgency is fear, urgency is panic. So what I'd really think is more relevancy. So we pivot from urgent to relevant. And the way to show that it's relevant is merchant on adoption in each one of the cities we organize meetups in. And then we go to those meetups and it's very obvious why we use Bitcoin and how we use Bitcoin and the people who use Bitcoin. And it becomes a centrifuging force, putting it around the relevancy as the center rather than the urgency.
And what has organizing Meetup then taught you about the social needs of people? You are just talking about right after COVID, we saw this huge need. And then we can see, these days, we were talking about it, remote work is being more normalized, but it's isolating. So what are some of the emotional social needs of the people exploring Bitcoin?
Yeah. Well, as a guy from the UK, I love going to the pub, right? This is the place that we go to hang out and connect. And places like this, whether it be the pub or the local community center or the park or wherever it may be, they're called the third space, right? That place in between home and work, usually the place you stop. But now as we see more and more people working online, the two first spaces, the home and the work, become the same. It's that for me, and it's that for more and more people. Or just in terms of healthy lifestyle, I think it's a good turn that people are moving into different type of more wellness focused. The gym is a great third space. I've just thought of it now. We should do Bitcoin meetups in gyms. But to have that third space is essential. People do need to be able to express themselves in a place that's not at work and not at home. I think that's where we can really self-discover a lot more. I think that's where we can feel free. And I think that's where we can come together and create connection. So the meetups are one of those third spaces, and I can feel it resonate with the people that come, that they're happy just to connect. Bitcoin is just a vehicle for the connection.
Emilio, what advice do you have for someone or for the people here that are trying to build that consistency, turning one time to a meetup and then recurring community space? Because you've organized it in El Salvador for over 2 years. But what is the key, when you need to build consistency?
Okay, so I think that this is along with experience, as I mentioned before, and also that what is the value that we provide in the meetups. When we match this information, the experience, and the content that we provided, I'm pretty sure that everyone will come back. And also, we had to do more things like shares, testimonials, shares, good pictures, good fans that they have in the meetup, and so they will be waiting for the next one. So that happened in El Salvador as well. Like, for example, in my case, I'm hosting a meetup every month. So the consistent that the people already know, like if the last Thursdays of every month there is a big meetup. So we don't have to do like a strong marketing to attract people together. So because they already know that we have these educational events the last Thursday of every month. And also, I think that sometimes it's good to do different things. Another example that I did in El Salvador is like every Tuesday I have a casual meetup. It's not like a no presentation, no speech, just bring the people together. But what is the difference on this? The people can discuss Bitcoin and they can meet other people, and also they feel like they're supporting the Bitcoin adoption because every Tuesday I'm changing the venue. So every Tuesday I'm looking for a new venue, a new place that they can feel good. And also that helps because other merchants reach out to you because they realize, okay, so these guys are hosting a meetup. I really want to bring these people in my place. So this help to create a community in create a movement too.
Amazing. Thinus, in your local context, what does success look like when trying to bring people together? How do you measure success?
For me, it's when sites actually get spent. You have to stack, spend, and repeat that process. So really, when the merchants are supported by the community, and the way to measure that is to have a community lead or coordinator regularly visiting the merchants and find out from them are there actually transactions flowing. So for us, that is success, to create that circular flow of sats.
Would you say that that's how you feel like the real impact it's been done? And if you want, provide all of these efforts, that's what it makes in a real impact?
Yes, because at the end of the day, we are trying to build a Bitcoin circular economy. And to do that, we have to transact using Bitcoin.
Amazing. Peter, same question. How does success look like in your context?
In my context, it is almost 20th meetup tomorrow happening in Bratislava. And I think that the success is that the people in Bratislava are meeting tomorrow, even if I am not there. The community is working by itself. I don't know how it is possible, but it works. That's the success.
That's when the effort paid off. that's when it paid off. Because now you can leave and then the people is going to take over.
Yes. It's I don't I only said that because it's so we have meetup every 21st in the month. Whatever what is it for the day, Sunday, Monday, it can be every day, but the people have I don't know how to say it. They can trust that it will be happen, and that is what they are looking for, I think.
Yeah. Pablo, what are some of the common mistakes that you see on people that they do when trying to start a meetup?
Common mistakes. It's funny, none come to mind. I just really appreciate and salute and encourage and support people who start a meetup. If you're starting a meetup and you're making mistakes, you're doing a great job already. I think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of energy. And there's no two meetups that are the same. So if I see it, it's great. You know what I mean? There's not too much. I think the only mistake is overthinking and over planning and waiting. Inaction is the biggest mistake. I really like people who go to meetups and there's one person and they were like, yep, just me again. Those are my favorite meetups because it's so young and it's so beautiful. But they're showing up and they're taking action. So inaction is the biggest mistake. I found it.
Yeah, because I think we're starting to talk about sometimes changing formats. How do we pivot? What it is? But how we're going to pivot with just the same person or two showing up? Do we even need to change any formats? If we are not seeing what is working or not working, but if people are showing up, it seems that it's working.
I mean, it's like if you cook a meal for the same people every month, eventually they're not going to stop showing up, right? If it's lasagna every week, you're not going to eat the lasagna unless it's really, really, really good. But then people get tired of that. But the thing that I find difficult is you have always inflows of new people who need the same Bitcoin 101, Bitcoin security, Bitcoin hardware. And then you've got the people who get tired of the Bitcoin 101 stuff. So how do you diversify? You have to make 2 meetups and then you have to double your efforts. And you've got a bit devs and then a social and then an educational. And how do you cater to all of that just being one person? I'm fortunate enough that Bull Bitcoin helps me support these type of events. But it's very community and there's not enough companies that are really helping people do that type of support. I see a lot of meetup people who are doing it out of their passion, their free time and their energy. But I don't see a lot of companies, no fingers pointed, but there's a network that needs to be built of social layer and everybody talks about it, but it's not an app. It's not a one-day conference. It's regularly helping people set up their meetups by just giving them access to their graphic artist to design a logo, by retweeting their stuff so people know what's going on, or just giving them a little bit of coaching. So you do have to stay super diverse and respect how people are doing things locally. But in terms of keeping things fresh and respecting the needs of newcomers, it's a tricky thing to do. I think eventually when your meetup becomes enough people, you can have more than one meetup. And then you get the dev guys, and then you get the social guys, and then you get the new people. That's how I see 3 meetups in every city, not just one.
And that's the thing, right? You mentioned about the companies and trying to help, more consistently. But if you want to measure success with attendance, then it's kind of like the chicken and egg situation because they want to see numbers, but then you want to add the support. So what would you, advise people that you said people is investing in passion, the time, the energy, and sometimes their own money to be able to build this. So then if they need a little bit of help, what can we do? Maybe organizations or companies focus on to see how can we help more people be able to build those grassroots communities?
I think it's really simple. It's just to give them examples of things that work and to show them it's easier than they think. And to personally, one thing I really like to do is people are like, yeah, I'm trying to get a poster or stuff like that. I'll jump on Canva in an evening and make a poster for the meetup, or we'll retweet stuff when stuff comes out, or we'll communicate. A lot of people think that the selling of the event is the hardest part, and it is. But when you get access to a larger company that has more viewers and more subscribers and more time and more talent, you can just bootstrap that because these are people who are working Monday through Friday doing that type of work. If companies dedicate 1% of their time to helping meetups, they'll be able to plug the meetups into specialists who'll be like, oh yeah, I can do that really quickly. It's done. Rather than a guy who's like, oh, next Saturday, if the kids are out of the house, I'll take some time and maybe I'll get that thing off the ground. Companies show up on a professional time period and just get the job done. So I'd like to see more people just showing up as a network of, but again, there's some really great networks. I want to talk about Anus Vanzik, which isn't a corporate network. You know, there are lots of meetups that don't have that, but they're able to bootstrap each other. And I think that's the ideal destination, is that you don't rely on the company to have the meetup. But until we get there, you do need people to step up and put a bit of time and money behind it. Yep.
Yeah. Thinus, you were mentioning that you are no longer doing, the meetups yourself. But how do you then handle, these conflicts or disagreements within the team that it's taking over? So what you've, helped build and push basically doesn't fade away, because that's all what we want, right? We want to empower others to do it, but we are just humans. Sometimes we think that coming to the Bitcoin space, that we're all going to be it's rainbows and unicorns. How do you handle those disagreements in the team so you can focus on just trying to build what it was meant to be, which is just grassroots community in meetups?
I think it's just always important to have the true north, which is to say, look, we are here to promote Bitcoin as money, and at the end of the day, it's about keeping things simple. Let's not overcomplicate things. Let's not be too technical, especially at a meetup situation. Try and take technical discussions aside, and then use practical ways of actually showing that Bitcoin works in a community, like for example paying for your pizza and your drinks and stuff like that. So just always finding that common ground and neutralizing arguments and difficult discussions in that way, and then encouraging people that want to go into more the technical side of things. Like I like what you said, like you have these three groups almost, but then obviously you don't have time to cover all of that. But to say, look, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is very much about self-study. So you need to educate yourself. There are a lot of resources available for that. And then there's also a lot of official courses that can be signed up for or taken to learn more in-depth stuff. So I think it's just about keeping it simple, and at any type of meetup where there's different audiences, just keep the core focus that we are here to talk about Bitcoin as money.
And talking about Bitcoin as money, what are some of the tools or resources that you've found more useful when trying to, organizing and teaching people to see Bitcoin as money?
So in our community, specifically, again, referring back to the server kits as a platform. So for example, there you incentivize kids for participating in a program with sats. That sats gets loaded onto an NFC card, and then they get to spend that sats at the local spaza shops or in the local community, again, creating the flow of sats in the circular economy. And then, for example, with the shack owners, with the painted logos, they earn sats for cleaning around their shacks on a weekly basis, and again are motivated to either spend that sats in the circular economy or hodl it for the future. And then when you get to your locals in the town, every time with that first onboarding session, it's literally like explaining to them that Bitcoin is money, giving them a Lightning wallet, and then gifting them their first sats to actually just have that first experience and interaction, and then encouraging them to start stacking sats for their next purchase.
Thank you. Peter, what do you have any other tools or platforms that you find useful when trying to onboard more people?
Yes, I like the Czech project Bitly. If you know what I mean. That's a great way how to you can give somebody who has nothing. He has no wallet, nothing, only the phone number, and you can send him some sets, and that's great way how and the easiest way how to get the listener to the contact with the Bitcoin and with that fact that it's functional.
Great. Emilio, and what are some of the platforms that you find more useful in your context to promote the events?
So there are many platforms that I usually use. For example, so the people can easy to. I think that the best experience for the people is that how they can sign up. Just one click, not putting the whole information. So in our case, we use Luma and also Eventbrite, and also like since that we are creating a community, we create Bitcoin groups and platform that is gonna easy to the people can be aware about the upcoming events. Yeah, that's the.
Has any of you, you can take whoever wants to go first, have the feeling sometimes that you feel like, is it worse continuing? Is it even worse continuing doing this? Have you stopped? Have you stopped? Have you not stopped? What helped you, if we want to say it that way, push through those moments?
Yeah, this makes me laugh because this happens. I'll be honest, this happens regularly. I think we choose difficulty as Bitcoiners as well, though. You know, it sounds money, but it's not always easy. You know, there's a fight, and the fight sometimes is personal, and the fight is around motivation, and the fight is around giving time and energy. So, yeah, sometimes I think, what is the point? But it's usually a very short-lived thing because I really feed. I'm a person personally. I really go through the highs and the lows of the meetups. Right, they're very demanding to get off the ground and then promote. But then you get there, and I'm on a high of talking to all these Bitcoiners, and then the crash comes, and then another meetup comes around, and eventually that kind of experience, the social battery gets worn down eventually. But then there's always something that comes along, like the one person you really meet and it clicks, or the event that just goes so well, it would last for like 6 more events. So it's kind of like an addiction to being able to make these things happen. But it's not easy, but it's not supposed to be easy, and you're not supposed to like it all the time. It's okay.
Same question. How do you push through? You feel like sometimes it's worth it. How do you find yourself motivated again?
Yeah, it's like we said, you know, you reach that point a lot of times where you just feel like you're getting tired. Is this worth it? But at the end of the day, it's just refocusing on why we are doing this. And I always say, like, a lot of what we are going through now and what we are doing now is not for us. It's for my kids. It's for the future generation. And that motivates me. So when I think about it from that perspective, I feel re-motivated to continue.
And I just want to jump in as well. I had like a second idea. It's actually not that hard as well, because a meetup is what? It's sitting down, eating food, drinking beer with humans. Like, it's what we're meant to do. This is how civilized people have always hung out. So being able to do this is at the same time a curse and a privilege. You know, you're like, why me? But then you're like, thank you at the same time. So I really, I zoom out, like you were saying, and a change of focus of why do we do this? And the fact that we get to do this as well is super, super, I'm grateful.
Would you like to add something to that?
For me, is re-energizing when I see the people are coming to the meetup, and they are coming every day, every time they're coming.
That's your energy, Emilio.
Yeah, I think that it's very important that the value that we provide through the meetup, and that is gonna be useful for to have these people back again into our events.
Well, I think we hit a little bit wild. I don't know if any of you guys have any questions. This is people literally from all over the world: El Salvador, Canada, Bratislava, South Africa. What would you like to ask them? Ask them, fire chat, everything, it's allowed.
Hello, my name is Andrew. So there was a question about the tools that you as organizers are using. How many of you guys, please raise your hands, who would be willing to switch over to a 100% Bitcoin native platform for event organizers?
So yeah, this is one thing where I'm always like, the tools that we recommended just there pretty much are meetup.com, luma.ma or whatever it is, or we're very much using centralized platforms. And it was a big question. I organize a meetup where they're very much like Bitcoin maxis. So the only place they put it is on Nostra. And how well is that meetup going? It's the guys that posted that go. So I'm in a fight with these guys right now. I'm like, yo, people put events on Facebook. That's where a lot of people put events. If you want to bring new people in, there's a farmer's market, there's the kids play activity, there's a local picnic, there's a barbecue, there's a sports team. Why is the Bitcoin event not on that list? Because that's how a lot of people scroll and plan their time. I don't mind not using Bitcoin, non-Bitcoin platforms. I think, if a JPEG is easy to put on all the platforms, but I actually target where I want people to come from. I want them to find something different that stands out. So I try and post on all of these different things. And to come back to your point, my tools that I really like to use, I like low tech. I like pens and paper and Sharpies and red and green stickers. And so when they get there, I don't have to be on my phone all the time and stuff. So, but yeah, I find it hard to have that type of decentralized social network for non-Bitcoiners.
Yeah, so I think that's the first thing as an organizer, we need to target which people we have to reach. So, for example, in El Salvador, so I think that everyone is in Twitter, in Nostra, but the regular Salvadorian don't use those platforms. So it doesn't make sense if I post something on Twitter or Nostra or invite people to sign up at the first time, and even they don't understand Bitcoin, to attract their attention. So sometimes I think as a Bitcoiner, it's very hard to use a centralized platform like a Facebook or Instagram or other meta services, but our target are there. So we need to help the people to escape from the fiat system. So after that, when they join the meetup the first time, we can teach them how to use other platforms, like the centralized platform, for the next time to join a Bitcoin meetup. Yeah, that's my point.
We can hang out at the end, though, if you have any suggestions or ideas or things that you're using. Like, it is a hypocritical move to go Facebook and Meetup. So please hang around at the end. I want to know everything you use. Yeah.
I'm Thomas from Cologne, Germany. And what I'm interested in, I'm also organize a meetup in movement. It's called Bitcoin Walk. We know all about it now. And what I'm interested in is how are your experiences and what are your success stories about Orange Pill local businesses to come into the circular economy?
I think Akazi goes first, right? I don't know. Local businesses, it was very low and slow in Canada, to be honest. A lot of people get caught out with the capital gains kind of FUD. It's not in places like El Salvador where there's less obstacles. But at the end of the day, the economy is doing a lot of good favors for merchant adoption. They're feeling inflation, they're feeling this and that. And tariffs recently with Trump has been great for Bitcoin adoption in Canada with merchants, because it's just another example case of why they should. And the first mover is always a good one. Every time I go to a restaurant or a cafe after or before the event, they're like, hey, what are you doing in town? And I say, I'm going next door to spend my Bitcoin in this restaurant. Oh, really? It's first mover. If you get the first place, that's really, really key. But the first place is almost like an epiphany, magical person who takes that risk. But once you've got that person, you have to really centrifuge around that person to try and get the movement of the neighbor, and that's where you get the circular economy. But Canada's very early, so I don't think I'm the best person to talk about this. I've got other people here who know a lot more.
Yeah, so this is like a good experience that I have in El Salvador. So I understand that everyone there is at least they know the word Bitcoin because of the legal tender. But there are a lot of merchants that they is skeptical. They don't want to accept. But as organizer, right now, so we have a lot of merchants that are willing to host a Bitcoin meetup. So as an example that I said that previously, I'm hosting every Tuesday a meeting in a different place. So when the other merchants see, hey, so my neighbor already has a Bitcoin meeting, I really want to do that again. So they created FOMO as well, that they really want to bring those Bitcoiners. So sometimes like people send me a message privately, hey, so I am the owner for this merchant. I realized that you host a Bitcoin meeting in that place. So I'm willing to take a Bitcoin payment, but you have to teach me how to do it. So I think that the best way is that to the merchant, we have to teach them that Bitcoin has value. When they realize that Bitcoin has values, I think that this is a real adoption.
To be honest, I didn't any merchant to adopt Bitcoin. I didn't bring it to that. I only asked if I can pay with Bitcoin, and I asked it only in that store where is it valuable for me, you know. If I am in a restaurant where it wasn't so good, I don't put them Bitcoin. I will pay with fiat and go away, you know. So I think that if they will understand Bitcoin, then they will adopt it, and we have to wait for that one.
One thing I noticed just while I was thinking is that a merchant can listen to 100 clients ask to pay in Bitcoin, but they can speak to one other merchant that accepts Bitcoin, and that is worth the same amount. Businesses like to hear from other businesses about their success stories rather than clients asking for it. There's like a huge imbalance. So if you can get merchants to witness or podcast or interview or broadcast how their businesses is doing since they adopted Bitcoin, that attracts much more attention from merchants than the Bitcoiners showing up. So I'm always like asking people, sometimes people don't want to as well for their business. We accept Bitcoin on the internet. But every time they can, I'm like, please, can we sit down? Can we record something? Because that's what the other merchants are listening to. Because they compete, but they also like to see what everybody's up to, you know?
Anybody else? Any questions? No. Okay, I just have one last. You were talking about the activities and the pencils and the workshops. How do you then manage having a little bit of a structure, but also keep it spontaneous?
One of the things we did in Montreal that worked super well is we just posted a poll on Telegram. We were like, what do you want to do next month? People vote social, educational, or dev to speak to those three groups. That's how we're managing 3 meetups in one. We'll just kind of poll people and ask what they want. We did a lot of education leading up to the first poll, and then everybody wanted social, so it's super clear what we needed to do. I did show up with my pens and papers though anyway at the social thing, and nobody wanted to play it, but that's okay. It's really asking the people who show up, and I think if they know what the next meetup is, they're going to want to come back. Even if you tell them it's social but they're a dev, they know what to expect. Or if you tell them it's education but they're a social, they'll want to show up as well. So you kind of manage expectations, but you can keep each month moving. So yeah, I liked polling the meetup.
Any other suggestions, guys?
I think, again, it's just about keeping it simple in terms of have a topic, but be willing to have the floor open for discussion, and then always find a way to navigate back to the original topic, so that you don't have to be too structured, and be just leave the floor open to go in any direction as long as it stays Bitcoin focused.
Bias is it mostly discussion at the beer. Sometimes we have speakers or something like that, but people are I think people are tired from the whole day, and they will rest. And by the rest, they will discuss everything they have to discuss, and some will networking somewhere will somehow they will teach each other something, and so it's organic.
Last question now. What is your favorite part to, when you started organizing a meetup and that you never expected? Now, what would you say is your favorite part that you get to do this?
For me, it's just connecting to people. At the end of the day, it's personal, and at the end of the day, we are making friendships through all these meetup and conversations and being part of a bigger community.
Yeah, for me, the best part is the experience and connecting people and provide good value into these meetups or events.
For myself, like a lot of the people, obviously the social part is really good. But if I wasn't organizing a Bitcoin meetup, I'd be going to social events anyway. I like that type of thing. That's my baseline. But what's good for me about organizing a meetup is the fact I get to do things that I wouldn't normally do. Like, I'd never be a graphic designer, but I really like making the posters. I get to do something. I get to learn about how to use Canva and stuff, and I get to organize events. I was the last person back home to organize the birthday parties or the stack do's or whatever the events were. But now Bitcoin's enabling me to do all of these cool things on a small amount of time in my week that I've never done before. And I'm really mastering a lot of skills that I'd never thought possible, but Bitcoin does that, right?
I cannot say nothing more. It was everything said. I don't know.
Everything. Okay. Everything in anything. Any last question for these guys? Thank you all for the ones that stayed through the whole panel. Thank you for your questions. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.